Gratitude, Mr. Speaker. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
Delegate has the floor.
Gratitude, Mr. Speaker. I do want to, before I begin my point of personal privilege, put a disclaimer on it. So if you or anyone in this body or watching has had any experience with sexual trauma, that this is probably a space where you want to take a breather. Mr. Speaker, do you remember when you were in the Navy and they had us do those safety briefs before we went on liberty? Like, you were an officer, so they probably didn't have to do all of that. But I oftentimes had to give junior sailors a very simple message. Don't do stupid anal excrement while you're out there. And if they were one of my shiniest turds, I would say, don't miss ship muster, because we will leave you. After years of experience in doing these safety briefs, I started doing a very special brief just for the women. And that message, too, was simple. Choose your liberty buddy wisely. Respect is a minimum. And try not to become one in three. If you become one in three, please feel comfortable talking to me. As a member of this 1 in 3, it was the best that I could do, Mr. Speaker, other than keeping them on the ship or myself being their liberty buddy. So you imagine my surprise walking away from that environment some years ago as a junior legislator when I joined this body and I was given a safety brief. I was told who not to go drink with, who not to be alone with, and who to just watch out for. I don't think you got that brief. And that kind of angers me. When other grown women in this body feel the need to show up for each other in that way, because of their personal experience, because of the things they've witnessed, or the things that they've just been told. This, Mr. Speaker, is inevitably a part of women's history. Women have to hold this water for each other. And I don't know if you've ever tried holding water in your mouth, try to have a conversation, trying to be in a moment. It can be very difficult. You either spill some on yourself, you might even choke on it, or you just swallow it. And that's what it's like sometimes. It was like for me sometimes being a member in the military and sometimes in this body as well. Just as Black culture has the talk and we have the nod, women in these cultures and these institutions have the brief stare, the fake smile, the look of leaning a little bit closer to make sure she's good. Because we have to watch our sisters and our friends interact with these people and smile with them. Mr. Speaker, becoming 1 in 3 for me, joining the military was like almost a given, right? Unfortunately, it is a part of that culture in one way or another. I actually became that statistic in high school where this guy, I fought him like hell, let's just put it that way, and got bad advice from a friend to go back and have the conversation with him. And he did it again. I did not fight. I reported, and it was horrible. It was one of the worst experiences of my life. Slander, I lost friends, I lost opportunities, which led me to the military, actually. That was my plan D. And within being in the Navy for a year, it happened again. And the audacity of the sailor that did it to go to my friend, who was another man, and apologize to him and ask him to relay the message. I think about what kind of person, what kind of people would think that is okay. To go to another man and say, I'm sorry for what I did to your sister. Can you apologize for me? It is wild. It is these things, Mr. Speaker, that has grown my empathy muscle for why people, and I didn't report, let me just say that I did not report that. I wanted to move on with my life because I knew what it meant to get involved in a case. It is these experiences that have helped me grow my empathy muscles for why people choose to hold water, why they don't just spit it out in some of these folks' face. And also empathy for the men among us who too hold water. Mr. Speaker, just about every woman that I talked to, both whether they were in the legislature or just friends, I said, hey, I'm gonna do this speech, it's on my heart. I'm struggling with it. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but I don't think I could be here another year without saying it. And each of those women asked me two questions, asked of me and asked me two questions. The first one was the first question I got from several women was like, can you at least say something to the guys in the space that are not the problem? Because we don't want them all to think that they're the problem. Can you at least do that? And I think about my brother Perry, who was told to apologize to me. He wasn't the problem. He was holding water for me. The second thing they asked is like, Jackie, what do you want? What do you want to get out of this? And that was a long, hard conversation with self. Mr. Speaker, I want them to feel uncomfortable. I want to transfer power. I want them to know and feel like we all know. Because there are women choking, holding water. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I actually just want for Peyton and Zahara, our daughters, to be safe, to be supported, and not lose their sense of love. I don't want them to struggle with emotional or personal or sexual relationships with a partner if they so choose that route. Because I am 23 years down the road from my first instance with a partner I've been with for 19 years, and I struggle. I struggle with triggers like, don't wake me up a certain way. No small digital clocks. I can't do heavy rain. When I get on my cycle, it's a problem. Carpet, cable boxes, apologies, all triggers. And so the power move that these men made, while it may have been a small moment in time, it is significant and lasting on my life. Just as it is for these women that I hold water for. And so my ask, I guess, today is that we need more accomplices, not enablers and not predators. I feel complicit sometimes, Mr. Speaker, for some of the things that I know. And as we get more women in this body, or I think about right now, being the only woman in the legislature that has served in the military, and why that has been on my heart of just having someone to share those experiences with and not feeling like it's a point of pride because I'm looking for somebody to connect with. I think about, why would I ask them to come here? Why would I ask them to be a part of this institution? Especially when we, Virginia, the Commonwealth, has the highest number of women's veterans in the entire world. I think about the safety breathing and the water I hold. And so I pray, Mr. Speaker, that as we get a historic number of women and we continue to get historic numbers of women in the space, that it is a difference maker. That these things, the holding of water is our past, it is our present, but it really shifts in our future. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, I do want to express gratitude for the men and women who get it right, who can tell inappropriate jokes, because I got a lot of them, who can ask me about my tit-tat because I'm a sailor and I did that, right? And it's all good. I pray that we make them collectively feel uncomfortable in this body, Mr. Speaker. And I appreciate this point of personal privilege. Gratitude, Mr. Speaker.
You cannot help yourself. The delegate from Buckingham, Delegate